All right, everybody, welcome back to the Huddle Up Podcast. I am Michi.
And I'm more repping 816.
And we just bringing you news of current events, sports, things like that. Today, we're just going to kind of hone in on a couple of things. The first and more major thing being, as everyone has probably heard of or seen or had some knowledge of by now, is the shooting that happened in Dallas, Fort Worth, with the off-duty police officer shooting her neighbor that lived above her in the, the adjacent apartment that was right above hers.
Literally one floor up.
Exactly. So first off, I want to say this. Feel free to leave us a comment on what you think. Feel free to leave us a comment on your knowledge of a situation like this, circumstances like this. Like we said before, we do not mind the dialogue. Healthy dialogue is always good.
Of course.
You don't have to agree with us. You can disagree, whatever you like to, but we would like to know what it is that you think. So please drop us a comment. Feel free. Don't be scared. So
you can even email us at huddleup.2k
at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Exactly. Also on Twitter, @00meech. I'm at @00meech00 MEECH.
And I'm more repping 8161. Don't be afraid to just drop your comments and what you know about the case or what your take is on the case.
Exactly, what your take is. So just first hearing about it, what are you thinking about what's going on right now with this case? How do cases like this continue to shift your outlook on the American system?
Well, first of all, this case is a mess. It's a mess from the jump. I mean, I don't understand how you confuse your apartment with someone else's apartment. It's on a totally different floor. I mean,
Exactly.
They were literally I believe, actually
Right
two different floors.
Yeah,
right above each other.
Floors, yeah.
I don't understand how your key, because to me it looks like the key they were using, or the door system was kind of set up like a hotel.
Almost, it's like an electronic key fob is what I guess I'm from.
Yeah, and it just shows you that how flawed the American justice system is. I mean, because let's be real here. The police are going to protect each other.
Oh yeah.
I think this manslaughter charge is just a smoke screen just to keep the people from rioting. And to buy themselves time to figure out what it is they want to do to handle the situation, because this isn't her first incident in a shooting.
No, I guess there's some more incidents that she's been a part of where it has caused some controversy. My thing is this: before we get into some details and some facts, my thing is this: is how can you, before a full investigation, before you've questioned people all around, how can you already say, okay, well, she committed manslaughter?
Yeah, I mean,
how do you come to that conclusion already?
And you're still gathering facts and information and evidence at that.
Exactly.
It just doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up. I don't understand how you're able to come up with manslaughter that quick. Yeah. And it was already on the arrest affidavit. It said Amber Guyger has committed manslaughter.
Yeah.
How can you do that already that quick? So I don't know. We're going to get into some facts, some paperwork, some documents from her arrest warrant.
Yeah.
Things like that. But once again, drop us your comments. Let us know how you feel, what you think, because we're definitely going to tell you what we think. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's get into some things. This is the state of Texas warrant of arrest. This was for Amber Guyger, the off-duty Dallas police officer that committed the shooting.
Okay.
So this is her, Amber Renee Guyger. It says white female, date of birth 8/9/88, 5'3", 120 pounds, blah, blah, blah. just when I read through documents, like I like to pick the things out that just don't seem right.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I do not get is, like I said before, it said, let me see, Amber Renee Guyger committed the offense of manslaughter. Once again, how can you draw that conclusion immediately without a judge and a jury?
Yeah. And again, evidence is still being collected. Stories
Exactly.
are still being told, and there's nothing set in stone. So,
Exactly.
I mean, this thing is still in the preliminary stages.
Exactly.
And, it's still very fragile, and it just doesn't make sense to make that predetermination, of manslaughter. I mean,
Yeah, and it doesn't. And we would also like to extend our condolences to Betham Jean or Jean Betham's family, who has to deal with this, who is going to have to sit through court cases, who's going to have to hear this stuff over the internet, over TV, who's going to have to listen to this for the next, I don't know how many years. So condolences to that.
And they're basically starting to smear his name. Here's a guy here that was in his own apartment, minding his own business.
Come on, man.
I believe they said he was in his own underwear.
Yeah.
Is what I read.
Exactly.
And you think he's a burglar?
We're gonna read. We're gonna read this. Like we said, tell us what you think. So we're gonna read this because I don't get a lot of this. So first off, before I read this, let's just kind of go through the basics, right? It was Southside Flats is where this incident happened.
All right.
Right. The way Southside Flats, the way the infrastructure works, from what I'm gathering, is that the floor that you live on, whether it be first floor, second floor, third floor, fourth floor, they have a parking garage that corresponds with the floor that you live on.
Okay.
So if I live in apartment, for example, 1278,
Yeah.
I'm parking on the second floor.
Okay.
If I live in apartment 1378, third floor, same thing with, the fourth floor. So the corresponding parking garage goes to the floor that you live on.
All right.
So evidently, based on her statements, she said she thought she was going to her own apartment, right? But you have to park she parked on the fourth floor, right? You would see all kinds of fours around. You know what I mean?
Even though this is not, I'm on the wrong level.
Exactly. This is not my floor. Wait a minute. All these fours, this can't be. So she bypassed that. She got out of her car, and I guess she's carrying something.
Yeah, I believe she was carrying her her police attire, some things.
Her bag.
Yeah,
she had a bag with her. So she's walking. She gets off on the fourth floor. She's supposed to live 1378, but she's on the fourth floor. So she's walking down the hallway. 1478 is not on the end of the hallway. Based on witness statements and things, evidence gathered, 1478 is in the middle of the hallway. So not only did you park in the wrong garage, but you're walking past multiple apartments that have 14 series numbers. So not only did you bypass the markings on the parking lot, but you also bypassed the numbers on the apartment doors.
Premeditated.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't add up. Now, you can pass this story off to somebody who's stupid, but to a lot of people in America who are smart, you can't pass this off.
I mean, I agree that I don't even think this is even a racial thing here. My opinion.
Exactly. I don't think it's a racial thing. Now, I think it gets racial depending on what happens with the verdict.
Absolutely.
But right now, I don't think it's a racial thing. I think it is a stupid thing, and this police officer should not get off for what she did.
Absolutely not. I mean, I think they said she was the only female on the, team that she was working with.
I see.
And
I'm not even sure.
I kind of vaguely read it,
But I know she's a 4-year vet.
Yeah.
Like she had been on the police force for 4 years. And the thing about being a police officer is you're trained to be very detailed. Now, you're not trained to be perfect, but you are trained to be detailed.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that you worked a 10-hour shift where you were being very detailed.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when you clocked out, all my details are gone, and I'm on the wrong floor. I parked on the wrong parking garage, and now I'm on the wrong floor. Even going up to the young man's door,
and see
red carpet is in front of his door. A red welcome mat is in front of his door.
And you know you don't have one in front of yours.
You don't have the same one.
And what I'm curious about also is how her story keeps changing.
Keeps changing.
I mean,
well, when you lie, you got to keep changing.
Well, that's true, and that's what we have. We have lies.
You got to keep changing.
Because if I know when I get out my car, I mean, you're not doing too much to where you can't remember exactly what happened.
Exactly. You're not that when you're going home, you don't have tunnel vision.
Yeah.
You're going home.
Yeah.
Like this is okay, cool. I know this. Like here in where we live, you have the street number, and sometimes in certain areas of the city, you'll have the street number. You'll have that same street number, but it'll have court after it. You'll have that same street number. It'll have terrace. You'll have that same street number.
Yeah.
It may say, street or avenue.
Yeah.
But as soon as you make that turn, like, wait a minute, this is not the block I live on. Let me turn around.
Absolutely.
So there was not that much tunnel vision.
I mean, when you've been living somewhere, a certain amount of time, every square foot, every angle of where you're going.
Come on.
You know your surroundings. If there's a picture on the wall today, and it's there, not there tomorrow, you're going to notice that because this is your dwelling, this is your surroundings.
Exactly.
But I'm more curious to what happened after the shooting.
Let's read some facts.
Right. Okay.
This is good. This is pretty interesting. Not good in the sense because we didn't want another young man to lose his life, but just pointing out the facts to let you know that she's lying.
Yeah.
We're going to find it out. Okay.
Right.
This is the affidavit for arrest. It says the facts of the case are as follows.
All right.
Right?
Yep.
Complainant Jean, which is the young man who lost his life, is the resident tenant of apartment 1478. Guyger, who is a Dallas police officer, and they have to put that in there so it can make you more sensitive to her feelings. Who is a Dallas police officer? I don't care if she was clocked out. Anyway.
After working, 14?
Was it 10? 13-hour shift or something like that?
13, 14.
I think it was 14.
So.
Let me see. Lives in the same apartment complex directly beneath the complainant in apartment 1378. Okay. So Jean, 1478, Guyger, 1378, right? Apartment 1378 and apartment 1478 and their respective interior floor plan are in most ways identical or extremely similar.
Okay.
Here's the thing. You're writing this once again so people can be sensitive to her point of view. We don't care if the apartments are laid out the same. She shot someone, and it was in the front door.
And which most apartments are laid out with the same floor plan.
Exactly.
Apartment building, they have 1-bedroom studios. They have 2-bedroom, 3-bedrooms. More than likely, those floor plans are going to be the same. The same. Whether it's in that building or in a whole other building across the complex.
Exactly. That doesn't need to be brought out. Like you said, this is an apartment complex.
Yeah.
They don't have 300 different layouts. The apartments are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
So this is another ploy to get you looking the other way. All right. Let's get back to it. Let me see. Complainant Jean was home alone. Right there lets you know he was home alone.
Home alone.
That should have been the end of this affidavit.
Now, he was in his home.
His home.
Alone. Okay.
Let me see. Home alone when Guyger, who had just ended her shift but was still in her, once again, Dallas police uniform. I'm not fooled. Patrick Mahomes last week, he fooled the cameras. I'm not fooled right now. I'm not falling for the okie doke. You're not going to keep throwing stuff in there to throw people off. Who was still in her Dallas police uniform, arrived at the apartment complex and parked her vehicle on the 4th floor of the parking garage, which should correspond to the floor the resident lives on.
Yeah.
You didn't see the markings? You're a detailed police officer. Okay,
so she, let me get this straight. She parked on his floor.
On his floor, yes.
Okay.
Guyger entered the building and walked down the 4th floor hallway to what she thought was her apartment.
Yeah.
She couldn't have. She saw all those 14 series numbers. You thought that was your apartment?
You would think you would notice that.
Come on, man. Let me see. She inserted a unique door key with an electric chip into the door keyhole.
And unique means what?
One of a kind.
There you go.
So go ahead. No. Go ahead.
So that means each key was programmed for that particular lock.
Yeah.
Unless you was the maintenance or the manager, then you had some kind of universal key with a chip or something like that. But each key was programmed to just open your door.
Your door. That's why it said unique key with an electric chip.
All right.
Unique key. So here's the thing. Your key fit into his door? Keep on line.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Keep line. Keep on line. Let's read some more.
We will see.
The door, which was slightly ajar. Okay, let's stop. We're going to keep stopping. You put the key in the unique keyhole, but the door was slightly ajar?
And let me say
If
this.
the door is slightly ajar, and you can tell it's slightly ajar, why would you need to put a key in the dadgum hole?
Exactly. And there also was a video on Twitter that showed a resident of that apartment saying, "Oh, we're going to despict this rumor or this misguided information."
Yes.
Because from the video, what they showed was when you open the door automatically swings back and it locks.
Exactly.
There's no gap. There's no, you have to push the door shut.
Exactly.
The door automatically goes back into the closed position and lock.
Closes by itself.
So, and on top of that, let's just say it was kind of like slightly just, pushed back a little bit. Your key still should not be able to read or would not be able to read his mechanism.
No. Your key for 1378 shouldn't fit in the keyhole for 1478.
That's like me going to a hotel room and I know my room's on 1378.
Exactly.
But I go to room 1478 and I take my key and I slide in there. I'm going to get that red light come on. I'm not going to get the green for go. I'm going to get the red for no, you can't enter.
Oh man.
So
this is crazy. Let me see. Upon the door being opened, Guyger observed that the apartment interior was nearly completely dark. Additionally, the door being opened alerted complainant Jean to Guyger's presence. Believing she had encountered a burglar, which was described as a large silhouette, that's a good way of not saying a black man, across the room in her apartment, Guyger drew her firearm, gave verbal commands
in his apartment.
This is the part that gets me. Gave verbal commands that were ignored by complainant Jean.
And
I don't have to listen to anything you say in my apartment.
They like to use that term comply.
Exactly. He didn't need to comply. In this situation, there was no need for compliance. He's in his own apartment.
Yeah, but I'm curious to had he opened fire on her, how would that have ended?
Come on, man.
I mean, we know, but I'm just curious. I just want to throw that out there.
Oh goodness. Let me see. She said she gave him verbal commands that were ignored by complainant Jean. As a result, Guyger fired her handgun 2 times, striking the complainant 1 time in the torso. Guyger then entered the apartment, immediately called 911. This is what got me. Like, you tripping. Requesting police and EMS and provided first aid to complainant Jean. Due to the interior darkness of the apartment, Guyger turned on the interior lights while on the phone with 911.
Mm-hmm.
Check this out. Upon being asked where she was located by emergency dispatchers, Guyger returned to the front door to observe the address and discovered she was at the wrong apartment.
Wow.
If you think you in your own house,
you will know your address.
And the dispatcher says, "What's your address?" so we can send emergency, responders.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to the front door and tell you what the address is.
So
I'm going to blurt out what I think my address is.
Has the audio tapes been released from that call, or we're still?
I'm not sure if they are. We'll definitely look for it. But that right there lets me know you knew you wasn't in your own apartment.
And another thing I'm curious about, because they said they found 10 grams of marijuana.
Yeah, after the fact, they got an arrest warrant to search his apartment, which it is a crime scene, so they do have to search it.
And that's fine, but I want to know is when the toxicology report is going to come out, because if he don't have marijuana in his system,
exactly,
that means it had to come with her. Maybe Not saying this is fact, but maybe it was in her belongings.
Maybe it was planted.
That's why I say I want to know what happened after the shooting, because a lot could have transpired before she called 911. Even though they say she immediately called 911.
Exactly.
Who's to say that she didn't get? Oh crap! Because she was quick. I mean, even though I guess she was quick to say, hey, take blood samples from me or whatever. I'm not sure. I mean, this is all hearsay to me.
Yeah, this is.
I mean, because for one, law enforcement is going to stick together. First.
Exactly. I mean, you can tell by the way it's written. Because when you read, let's read the last sentence. The last few sentences. Guyger remained at the scene and informed the responding officers and the 911 operator that she thought she was at her apartment. Once again, we don't care.
Yeah.
You was in somebody else's apartment. You went to the front door to check the address. You thought you was in your own. You wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So that's another
but here,
smoke
let's
screen.
play the devil's advocate here. Maybe she was so shook.
Maybe she was so shook that she forgot even her address. Nah, I'm sorry.
Maybe she was that rattled and frantic. Who knows? Only her and John would know, I guess.
Somebody will try to. Her lawyer will probably try to do that.
Yeah, they're gonna eat that like that.
This right here, like to me, if I'm the judge and I hear that, I'm like, hey, everybody go home. She's guilty of murder.
I mean, it's like you said, that whole wording.
Yeah. The way it's worded.
The whole wording of this affidavit is you can tell it's being tiptoed around.
Exactly. These are police officers writing a report for a police officer who they don't want to go to jail. When you read the last sentence, because they said Guyger remained at the scene and let people know, or the officers know, that she thought she was in her own apartment. The last sentence, once again, Guyger believes she was in her own apartment and confronted a burglar. This affidavit, they're trying to get people to be sensitive to her point of view.
I agree.
Because they mentioned a bunch of times, well, she thought she was in her home. She thought she was in her. No, you didn't. Mm-hmm. You didn't think you was in your own apartment. When they asked you where you were and you went back to the front door, come on now.
Well, I'm also curious about this. Yeah, I guess one of the lawyers has called for her immediate termination, but I guess the police department says that they don't make that, I guess, call so soon because the investigation is still going on. But my thing is, if she's been charged for manslaughter, that right there should be enough.
Wait a minute.
They
said they don't do that.
She's not terminated. She's not terminated.
No, I know she's not terminated. You said they don't do that immediately.
Well, from what I read, it's something like, I guess they don't. That's not really protocol.
Well, I wish that the NFL refs who ref this Chiefs game was doing this investigation, because they would have threw a flag real quick.
Penalty.
They would have threw this is America.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That is some foolishness.
But I mean, there's still a whole lot that needs to come out on this case, and we will continue to cover this case until the actual facts and the rulings come out, and she has her day in court. So yeah, she's definitely going to have a day in court. I hope it works out, because justice needs to be served. And once again, I'm gonna need people to stop being mad that Colin Kaepernick was kneeling for situations like this that keep happening. Yeah, that's why he was kneeling. It's not because he was disrespecting a country or flag or military. He was kneeling because of situations like this. I mean, I hate to say it, but the law enforcement agency is one of the biggest crooks and gangs in America. I mean they're bullies.
It's sad to say, but I mean it looks like that. And here's what I want to say: her actions make it hard for the good police officers.
I believe that.
Her actions, as well as other officers in the country, it makes it hard for the good officers, because now once there are so many serious situations like what she did and what other officers have done, now you can't trust anybody. Yeah. And it makes it hard for the ones who are actually trying to do their best to do a good job. Yeah,
and I actually like to go back and look at the affidavit on the other case that she had 2017 from the shooting.
Exactly.
I guess the guy tried to pull a taser. I like to read that statement and see how that played out. You know what I'm saying? To see if there's any similarities in the wording or the
exactly
overall handling of the case. So, I mean, this case is definitely far from over, and this is just the beginning stages of this whole ordeal, and it's unfortunate that man had to lose his life for being in his own home. I mean,
he wasn't on the street, he wasn't on the corner, he was a good young man, he was in his own house, and he lost his life. So, I once again, I really do hope that justice is served this time around. Hopefully it doesn't grow into a situation where, it causes a further divide among, the nations of the country. Yeah,
we definitely don't need any more riots or just destruction of the country, period. No. We're divided as a people already. I mean, like I say, with Donald Trump in office, we're getting further divided. So, I mean, it's getting worse by the day. It needs to stop.
It really does. So we're gonna switch gears before we leave real quick. Tell me what you thought. The Chiefs won today, 42-37 over the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
They haven't won in Pittsburgh since 1986.
Wow.
And I think in the last 7 games, we're 1-6 against them.
Yeah, I think Big Ben's only lost. This is his second time losing to us in his career. He's only lost to us before today. He's only. I thought I heard him say he only lost one time.
Well, that wasn't even Big Ben. That was Charlie Batch.
Really? I thought he said Ben Roethlisberger. I could be wrong.
Because Big Ben was hurt that game.
Oh, okay.
And they had a backup quarterback in.
Well, anyway, Chiefs won. Mahomes looks great. Secondary still needs work.
Secondary still has to have work. We can't give up 400 yards a game and think we're going to continue to win these shootouts.
And I want to know how much it's going to take the refs. Like, how much do we have to pay you to make this a fair game? Because it should have been 28 to nothing at one point, but they called a phantom holding penalty, which they never showed the replay on. So I did not call. Listen, I think. After the game, Justin Houston, Chris Jones, and D Ford had to get new jerseys because they were being held so much. It ripped the numbers off of them. So I know when Ben threw that one touchdown,
where it was like a forward lateral.
Yeah. If you clearly go back and look at that replay, you'll see where Justin Houston was being
he was being held
like hooked, like he was a fish or something, man. Yeah. Like the guy had his jersey so hard. I mean, it was plain and simple. It was holding, and it was he crossed the line of scrimmage.
He crossed the line of scrimmage. There was holding. I mean, there was a lot going on. So let me ask you this: the Chiefs go into Pittsburgh. They're now 2-0, and it's exciting because these two wins have been on the road.
Yeah.
Did Patrick Mahomes not only win fans, but was it solidified that he was the leader or the definite leader? Remember, we talked the first podcast.
Yeah.
He needs to be that leader. Was it solidified today?
I believe it was. I mean, I think there was no question of his leadership among the players.
Yeah.
I think it was us as fans and, spectators. We always want to say shoulda, coulda, woulda from behind our couches and TVs and the water coolers. But I don't think there was a question of his leadership because I remember hearing Todd Hill say he's very vocal and he's our leader and we listen to him. So I don't think there was a question on the sidelines of who's the head of the team and who's in charge.
Exactly. Hey, 6 touchdown passes on today, 10 total for the season. I think he is definitely the leader of that team. I love his intensity. Yeah. I love how poised he is, and I love how we all thought he was going to come in and he was going to have 35 touchdown passes for the season. And 28 interceptions.
Well, I've always said the kid was mature beyond his years. I mean, I think that goes back to his father playing in the majors and his godfather.
Exactly.
I believe he's also a 21-year vet in the major leagues. And I think his maturity level, just being an overall person, is what translates on the field.
Exactly. And I think also sitting behind Alex Smith, mixing Alex Smith's conservative, so to speak. I don't want to say conservative because he did a good job, protecting the ball.
Yeah.
But sitting behind his smart decision making.
Yeah.
Mixing it with his gunslinger mentality and realizing I don't have to sling it down the field every time, but I can make the smart throws
when I
You know
need
what
to.
mean?
Yes,
exactly.
And I think he did say he benefited from sitting an extra year. I mean, I think had he did start his rookie season, we would have seen a lot more picks. Not because not his maturity, but just being anxious and being in there, and get his first taste of action.
Exactly.
But I mean, everything happens in time, and I think the timing is right. And I think, if this team can get the defense together, they can go along. I'm not saying win it all like every year Chiefs fan. Oh, they're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying all that, but what I'm saying is we can go to the AFC Championship.
I think if they continue to play smart on offense and shore up some holes in the defense, they can definitely make a deep run in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
and I'm all for it.
All
right. Listen, that's been our Huddle Up podcast. Once again, drop the comments, drop the likes, share it, subscribe. Whatever you feel like you want to do, but we want to hear what you have to say as well.
And you can hit us up on Twitter at Huddle Up 2K.
Huddle Up 2K on Twitter. That's both.
Questions, comments, feedback, anything.
Exactly.
Follow us.
Exactly. As what we're starting to do, we want to end off with a scripture. This scripture is coming from Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26, and it says, "For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins." And that verse is basically saying, once you know what you're supposed to do and you choose to go back and do the opposite, then there's no more sacrifice for sins for you. You've made your choice to cross that line. And like it says in Isaiah chapter 28, you're making an agreement with death and hell. So
you choose to do what you're doing.
Choose wisely. Choose wisely. So, thank you for tuning in to our Huddle Up podcast. Once again, I'm Michi. Follow me on Twitter, 00Meech, 00 capital MEECH.
Now I'm Mo repping 8161. Follow me on Twitter. Again, follow us on Twitter at Huddle Up 2K.
Exactly.
Go ahead and hit that follow button.
We'll see you next time.